Hello and welcome back to Watch Us Tonight. Welcome back to WatchBox Studios. I am not Tim Masso, unfortunately. My name is CQ Gottlieb. You guys know me as CQ the Watch Guy. Tim is probably asleep right now on a very long flight to Asia for our world tour. So we wish him well and we'll see him back when he gets back from Asia. For now, you're stuck with me, and I missed you guys so much. I hope everybody is having an awesome new year. It's been maybe a couple years since I've done a live video, so we're gonna have some fun. Just on like Tim's last video, he told you we want to change up the format a little bit. He's doing a lot of traveling. We're blessed, and we're opening so many locations, and he's doing a lot of exciting things. So you're gonna see a little bit more formats with different people you haven't seen before in a long time, like me, and you'll see a lot more shows with multiple people as well. So let's get into the chat and say hello to everybody. Hello, Thomas, IFID, John Claude, Beaver. Oh man, I missed you guys. It's been so long. So happy to see everybody. Oh, but first we have to start with the wrist shots, right? What am I doing? So let's go to it. Today we have some really amazing wrist shots. The first one, Chris F. with his Tudor Black Bay 58 in Miami. I'm just missing a Cuban coffee when I look at this. Let's go to Kyrie F with the VC Overseas in the wild. I love this. Overseas in the wild in the Andaman Sea in Thailand. I hope you're enjoying that watch, Kyrie. It looks amazing, and it looks like it's in its natural habitat in those crystal clear waters. I love it. Let's go to John J. He has his Sin watch in a castle in South Carolina, Kakalaki with the Sin UTC. Another beautiful shot with some palm trees. As you can see, I'm taking a little bit of a island theme. You know, if CQ's on, you got some palm trees there, you're gonna get on the show. Next, let's go to Max L, another Florida boy with his beautiful, beautiful Seamaster Anniversary Edition. When these came out, man, and I saw one in person, I was just stunned. So beautiful, great picture. Thank you for sending that in, Max L. And last but not least, let's go to Jason P with a Reuter watch on a cruise, beautiful ocean there. I think he's doing a little bit of mini golf. Hope you had a great day there. And that Reuter watch, that blue and that green, that is, I don't know, it says the Caribbean to me, right? And thank you guys for the wrist shot. Make sure you keep sending them in. We got tons to get to. All right, so what we want to do, what I want to do with this show, I want to get back to a little bit more Q&A, so please feel free to pop some questions there in the chat. Let's have a fun little show. Let's get some things going. The theme of today's show, I was thinking what kind of show that we can do, and we're still close enough to New Year's, right? So I wanted to do a show where we look back at some things in 2022. So tell me the things in 2022 that you want to leave back, or the things you want to bring forward in 2023, or some things you want to see in 2023 as well, and we'll get into all that. Let's see who else is in the chat that I know. Marco Barsi, how you doing? Jabor, Whole Milk, that's a good name. Oh man. Oh, and John Claude Beaver, on my wrist tonight we have the HYT 80. This one is the red and like the gunmetal. I just love HYT. I love the technology. I love the way, you know, fluid tell on time. And we just have so many of these, not so much anymore. We have so many of these at great price points that, I don't know, I just wanted to show off one tonight. And this one gives a nice pop of color with that beautiful gunmetal finish. Check out HYT. It's a brand where, you know, it doesn't get as much love as it needs to, but now that it's under new ownership and moving forward, I'm happy to see it go. All right, so the first question that I had, or the first answer I should say, was from Waleed, and he says, leave NFTs and watches in 2022, which I think, you know, is interesting. I know a lot of us have, you know, maybe a little burned out by cryptos and NFTs and blockchain, just because you see so many things going on. And, you know, whether you're in the investment side of it or you just like the technology side of it, there's just been a whirlwind of things in 2022. And it's definitely jumped into the watch space. And what I'd say is, you know, I think blockchain and that technology in watches is actually where our end result is going to be. I think, you know, we see what's going on around the world, the people stealing watches. And I do think we do need a centralized authority for the custody of watches and, you know, buying, selling, traded watches, so we know it's going from one customer to another happy end user. And then, you know, if somebody tries to steal a watch and sell a stolen watch, you have some type of centralized database to go to. I do think this is, you know, a very long time away, because again, it's going to have to be, you know, very centralized situation, and all the brands are going to have to come together, and it might be some type of international entity, so maybe we're 10 years away from that. But I do think that's what we want to see continue. And I do think there's also a really great opportunity for NFTs to be used in place of experiences, or as a placeholder for experiences. If you're on a wait list for a watch where, like, let's say they're only making 10 to 15 watches a year, but you're number 100 on the list, give me an NFT of art, or the NFT's experience, or something like that. And that might make me feel a little bit better, that's for sure. So I want to put up that Moser. Do we have the Moser? So this, to me, and I love this. So this is the Moser Endeavor Center Seconds Genesis. This watch came out at the end of last year, and it's just a cool looking watch. To me, this is one of the best examples of, blockchain and the futuristic technology. First, let's talk about the watch. You have a 3D printed case, and it gives you that kind of pixelated, jagged edge. These pictures come from Monochrome Watches, by the way. I gotta give them a shout out, because these are the best pictures I found on the internet of it so far. Now, of course, you're saying the QR code on the dial or on the sapphire crystal is going to get in the way of legibility. I have seen it in different lights, and I do think in a natural light you'll be able to see the watch a little bit more. But I just love the case of this watch. It looks funky. I feel like I'm playing Minecraft or something like that. And I just love Moser for always pushing the edge. Now, what I do like with this is a 50-piece limited edition. So you buy this watch and you get access to the other 2 pieces that are going to be in this limited edition 3.0, right? But you also get access to their ecosystem and NFTs and all of that, which is great stuff. But when you go into their ecosystem and you kind of look at all the terms and details, there's a lot of insurance tokens and ownership tokens. It's heavily focused on that as well. So I think it's great to see brands starting out with a very small limited edition. Let's test it out. Let's try to make a value product for our client, and also test out how we can use blockchain technology to help our clients in the future, just buy, on the buy, sell, and trade side, because I think that is the best way it can be applied and really solve a problem that we do have in the industry right now. Because if you buy a watch from somebody you don't know, you like to have some way to figure out that it's real. And increasingly, it's very tough to walk into an AD and say, can you just verify this watch for me? Some of them are happy to do so, and some of them, can be a little bit grumpy. So I think this will be a great one. Let's see. We got some good comments in there. Moser being hilarious again with the NFT watch. Yes, I love that Moser keeps it spicy and fun though. That's kind of their thing, right? They make all these cool watches, but at the end of the day, they have to have a little bit of humor and do some funky stuff. And they've been winners so far, right? A Moser watch I don't like. A few people don't like it. I do think you got to see it in person before we talk about the legibility. But what I can do. Let's see. Next question up. Something I would like to see that I think we started seeing in 2022 was brands look into their history and bringing some iconic pieces back to the market. That one was some jabs, and it's a great question and observation. Re-edition watches have been happening for a very long time, but in 2022 we saw some great ones. First up, where's my list of watches here? Omega 321s. Omega 321s made a big comeback. Great watches, legendary movements, and just very faithful redesigns. Of course, the first one was in platinum, and that was a little bit highbrow, but the steel one did really good. Then we go down to the AP Star Wheel, which I don't know. I'll put that on it. I do like that they brought back the Star Wheel into the fold, but I have a personal gripe. I just love, the Edward Piguet and Jules Audemars lines, and I just feel like, AP's kind of forgetting these other lines, and they're just pushing the Royal Oak and Code 11s, which I understand, I guess, from a business standpoint. This is a fun and unique watch, but I mean, wouldn't you have loved to see this in like a reimagined Jules Audemars case? Just something cool, funky, throwback. Maybe you release this and a re-edition of one of the original Star Wheels in a more beefed up case in a different movement. I think that would have been really nice as well. But what can you do? And let's go on to the Vacheron 222. This hands down is probably the best re-edition of the year. In person, this just looks like money. It's perfection. And I love that they upgraded the movement, made the case a little bit beefier, the bracelet a little bit beefier, keeping it a nice contained size. And this was just a winner all around. I haven't heard anybody talk bad about the 222 re-edition. I think you could smack them if they did, because it's just an all around nice beautiful watch. And I love that Vacheron, you know, is going down the path of making nice reeditions of things pieces love. I think for a lot of time, people are like, oh, all you're doing is going back to history, but there's nothing wrong with doing a reedition of a watch that if you got it, a vintage version of the 222, one, you wouldn't want to wear it just because value-wise. Two, the movement and all this, you'll be afraid to wreck it and get it serviced. So it's nice that I can get a modern interpretation that I know can be serviced really easily, and I'm not worried about, you know, breaking it or scratching or something like that. And I think this was one of the best releases in a long time when you talk about reeditions. Let's see what we got here. My examples of ones that he would love to see, these are interesting. So you put the Rolex 6263. So let's put that on the screen. Now the 6263 is basically a pre-Daytona chronograph with a triple calendar. Imagine if they made this watch today. This would be a killer, a triple calendar chronograph Rolex that came out in a modern case with a modern movement. You know, I don't know, you could keep the riveted bracelet, you could do a different bracelet, I don't care. But give me this watch this year, Rolex. This year, next year, I'll give you until 2024 because it takes some time. But this is a watch that would break the internet for 2 years. It's something that nobody expects, but it's so easy for Rolex to go back in the books. Let's make a very unique movement. If you know, who am I to challenge Rolex? But I challenge them to give us a complicated watch. I would love to see. Give me even a Cellini triple calendar, and then I'll shut up for a little bit, and then I'll be quiet for a while. But imagine this watch reduced. It'd be amazing. Ooh, making forward with a great suggestion, the Vacheron 222 and Tantalum. That'd be a sweet watch, Mick. Another one from Jazz would be the Patek 3770, the Nautilus. Look at this beauty. And he suggested this because he actually picked up a two-tone version. So this is basically, you know, a Nautilus and Ellipse. They had a good weekend and then a baby happened 9 months later. This is what we have. It's a Nautilus. There's a few of them out there. You don't see the steel too often. You do see the two tones of steel and gold much more. But imagine this in a modern case, upgraded movement. I think this would be a winner. I think it's funky. Not everybody would love it, of course, but I think it'd be something I would love to see Patek do. And it would give me, I don't know, why not? Why not? It looks beautiful. Looks beautiful there. Imagine a 2023 version would look amazing as well. Let's see, next on the list, I'd love to see innovation come at all price points. CW Bell, Christopher Ward Bell Canto was a kick-ass release last year. This is another great question from Waleed. Let's put up that Christopher Ward right there. So the Bell Canto, if you don't know, is a hour striker watch. So there's, you know, you kind of see the hammer there, and then you have the hour striker. So hour striking watch, what's the price point? $3,400. Are you kidding me? I almost cursed. I'm sorry, Sean. A $3,400 hour striking watch. It's insane. And I big kudos for Christopher Ward for making such an amazing watch at a price point. At that price point, you really can't ask for anything else. You can only, you know, give kudos and thank them for making such a cool watch. Because, you know, I think sometimes we get caught up in these amazing watches that we sell, but we forget not everybody, you know, can pull out the money to get, you know, a Jour and Tour or something like that. So it's nice to see a really, you know, complicated watch from a nice name, great quality. I haven't heard any bad things about it, and they've done a few different editions that I think really good. So I would love to see more of this in 2023. Affordable watches that push the envelope. And what happens when you push the envelope at accessible price point? You gain market share, you gain fan base, and you get bald-headed people with a beautiful beard like me talking about it on a Monday night. What more do you want? Keep it coming. Another great one that I really love is the Sigma. Is the Sigma? I'm sure I'm saying right. The Sigma Design Blue. This picture also from monochrome watches. Again, I go to them because they give me really nice pictures. So the Sigma Design Blue Planet in titanium, under $1,000. And you get this beautiful globe, and you tell time with the compass there is hours. So it's a unique way of telling time. It's a really, really well done dial. It's a gorgeous watch, man. It kind of gives me the iPod vibes, the way the case is curved. And this is a GPHG winner. You know, under $1,000, you can buy this easily on Amazon, have it on your wrist within a week. And I just love that. I love that there's a watch that I can talk about that's cool, that's a GPHG winner, and I can tell you, go get it on Amazon. You know, and you can get it in a couple of days. So let's keep coming. That's what I want to keep going the most is innovation. Let's have innovation in 2023. Let's keep it accessible if we can, right? Why not? All right, let's see if we got any questions in the chat. Simon Templar, CQ, can you have some of us on the show? I'll bring some scotch and cigars. I love that, Simon. You know, we love to have our collectors on the show. We love to do meetups. You know, shoot me an email at CQ@thewatchguy, depending where you are. The only thing that's our only handcuffs right now is logistics, but we are opening new locations. I'm here in Bala right now, but we just opened up in New York, where I'm based out of, on the corner of 57 and Madison. So we're gonna be doing a lot more things in New York. So if you're on the East Coast and you'd love to do a show or a video or something like that, please shoot us an email, CQ@thewatchbox or tmasso@watchbox.com. Happy to help you out. And if you're willing to travel in and you have some time, we're willing to do that as well. Again, we love to do content with our collectors and our fans, and we do always see a great response. So people love to see other collectors as well. So it's more of a logistics thing. I'm happy to smoke some cigars with you. You never said anything wrong there. All right, guys. So give me some of your suggestions. I want to know what you guys would like to see in 2023 and what you guys would like to leave in 2022. A lot of Cellini love. Shout out Neo. Nice to see you. Shout out Kel Mibson. I mean, all the guys are here. JJ's in from Michigan. Good to see you. Look at all the 2-2 love, man. Yeah, let's see what other questions we have here. Or are we all out? Oh no. Let's go. Oh, I have one last one from O'Neill. Now he had a lot of good suggestions. One, he wanted more stone dial Calatravas. So he wants like a full assortment of stone dial Calatravas, and I think that'd be sick. Can you imagine like a 6119 with a beautiful, different opal dials or malachite dial or something like that? I think you look back into Paddock's vintage selection, you see so much amazing stone dials. So I'd love to see some stone modern Calatravas. I think would be really, really excellent. He wants a titanium sea dollar. I could see it coming. Listen, we just had the titanium deep sea challenge, and if they can do that, they can do anything. Let's just say that. Let's say that watch is for bold personalities and big risks, if you know what I mean. And more lefty watches out there for the lefty mafia. I guess he liked when the Sprite came out, and there's not that much left wrist watch love out there. So let's make more lefty watches, right? All right, CQ, what's harder to get, a platinum dated with Meteor dial or an AP Royal Oak offshore? The platinum dated all day. I've been hearing people getting certain offshores really, much more easier than the past. I think AP right now is in an interesting situation where they're doing all these new AP houses, so it's a great. They're open to new collectors and having new conversations and things like that. So I think just like with anything else, if you go in with a good attitude and you have a good conversation, you can kind of figure out where you stand. Of course, it always helps if he buys more, but I feel like if you go in and ask for a Royal Oak offshore versus a Royal Oak 41 blue dial or green dial chronograph, green dial gold or something like that, you'll have much more success on a Royal Oak offshore. Platinum Day meteorite dials, those are still a little bit fairly new, so a lot of people are still jumping on those, and of course the demand for Rolex is insane, and you always have that line of people who've been going to the Rolex AD for years and years. So in my opinion, I'd say the Day will be a little bit harder to get than Royal Oak offshore, depending which one you're looking for. And there he is, Eddie Landsberg. How you doing? I was looking for you. Good to see you. Hey, Scottish Watches, shout out, good to see you. Saw the boys of Scottish Watches a lot this year. Robert Taylor, will we see a John Mayer in the 40,000s, which is a green dial Daytona yellow gold case and bracelet? I think that'll be tough to see in that price point. In my opinion, we are seeing things kind of stabilize a little bit more. That watch did extremely rocket up in price, but to see it in the 40s, I don't know, but anything is possible. I just don't see that happening unless they come out with a much, much better version of that watch, which I don't know how you can really improve on that color. I personally like the blue dial white gold Daytona myself, but that's just me. All right. Live stream with the regular peeps. Yeah, that's what we're trying to keep going. You're going to see a lot of different personalities come on. Now that I'm back in the US, I'll definitely be on air a lot more, but you'll see Armin, you'll see Mike Manjo. So I'm teasing a slight return of the market rap, so just, fingers crossed there. In a couple of weeks, we'll do a really nice show with me and Mike, and we can really talk, really answer your questions, about the market and what's going on. And, it's been up and down the road. So he'll give us a nice recap. I'd love to see QR used to create a bio database for previous and present owners of a watch, instant history of that specific piece. I think that's where we'll have to go. I think the only issue with that at this point is that every brand is going to do it their own way, because there's so many different companies who are doing the blockchain, NFT, QR code technology. So, there's a bunch of different brands who are running in there. And, Breitland's already doing something. Moses, like we just talked about, is doing some stuff. All the brands are considering it. I think Breitland is the furthest one along, because I think right now you can go somewhere on their website and transfer ownership. And that's a model I think that needs to go going forward. And I think, in 10 years, we'll be in a situation where you sell me a watch and then you have to go, before I can even pay you, like as a proper dealer, you would have to go transfer the ownership to me as an entity or me as a person or whatever, and then I'd pay you. And I think that's how, like in 10, 15 years, the transactions will be going forward, and that will eliminate so much of the watch theft that's going on, because I think what's happening right now is, unfortunately, there's a lot of bad dealers out there who still buying a lot of the stolen product, and whether they put aftermarket diamonds on it and sell to people who don't care what a serial number is, or they're just offering great deals, and there's no database, right, to check on certain watches. So if we're dealing with a big dealer like us and other great dealers out there, we have the watchmakers and the databases we can check. But if you're just, CQ the watch guy who's, before he's a watch guy, just buying a watch from somebody off the street, who do I go to verify that watch? It's a very stressful process. So hopefully that will be solved very soon. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Another one from Simon. Let's go for Joshua. I want to see more watches with 36 millimeter case diameter. Also more development in watch movements, power reserves, anti-magnetic hairsprings from companies other than Swatch Group. I think that's a great thing I'd like to see as well. I think we've entered an interesting stage in terms of development of movements. We're on the high-end side. We're still seeing a lot of big breakthroughs and different use of movements. But in that middle section, we'd like to see a little bit more innovation. I do think a lot of brands got stuck in the colorway battle and the integrated case sports watch, Blue Dial battle, and Tiffany Dial battle. And so we have all these colorways, because everybody was, making money. One thing you have to remember about the beginning of COVID and the COVID watch industry, let's call it that time period, a lot of brands who weren't doing too well, all of a sudden started to do well. So a lot of them pivoted to, doing what they can to kind of print more money. Just a few brands off the top of my head, you take Girard-Perregaux. Before 2019 to up till, last year, I don't think people were chasing over Loretta's the way that they were at the end of the year. Breitland began doing extremely well. So many brands did well, and I think now that they have a little bit of money in the coffers and the bank situations look a little bit good and everybody has a little bit of financing, I would like to see, let's get back on the innovation parade and let's give the people value. At the end of the day, all us as collectors want is value for our dollars. Show us that you're listening to us. Keep innovating, and don't make me go and buy the same pancakes every day. Does that make sense? All right, from Hardcore Shredder, Rolex needs to reconsider bubble backs. Same designs, don't mess with the perfection, maybe larger cases, but nothing above 40 mm. That'd be interesting. I think a 36 mm bubble back to like a 38, 39 bubble back would be interesting. Maybe you floated under the Cellini line. Again, not a big production. Maybe that's something that you only get from, select dealers. I don't know how you would phrase it, but I think there is a certain sect of people who would enjoy the bubble backs. There's so many unique dials and cases with bubble backs that I think, and the price point they'd be priced at, I can't imagine they'd be crazy, would be a really nice, something different that they could put into the lineup that I think would do really, really well. Again, Rolex is in a very unique situation where pretty much anything they do kind of would sell. So it's just, why not step on the ledge a little bit more? Listen, if you're willing to make a 50 titanium diver. I think, and you know, we have plenty of calls on it. I have a couple clients who are on the waiting list for it. I think you could do, you know, something else, and that would also sell out as well. I hope we leave behind new integrated bracelets. We have too many now from Whole Milk. I think that's a good that's a good idea as well. I think if you're gonna make an integrated bracelet today, it needs to be very unique. And let it be polarized. Maybe not everybody would like it. And I think about watches like the Moser Streamliner has a really nice bracelet I like. The Chapek Antarctique, their bracelets are good. Don't be afraid to make something unique. But again, we don't need a bunch of integrated bracelet watches. I think now we've kind of saturated the fold, so to speak, so we can move away from that a little bit. Scottish watches blew up in 2022. They deserve it. I agree. All the guys over there are amazing at Scottish watches. Will Rolex ever make a Paul Newman again from Jell Mibson? Maybe. You know, Rolex, again, they could do whatever they want. Maybe not a Paul Newman. Maybe not yet. Maybe on a special anniversary. And I know there's a few good ones coming up this year. Maybe on a special anniversary, they'll do something. They're just in a very, I don't know, not many people in business knows how to be in a room like Rolex where they could really do anything, and it's all about preserving their legacy, and they think, you know, probably decades ahead. So who knows? I'd love to see it, and if they, you know, if they can hear us now, hopefully, you know, somebody out there is watching. Let's see, let's let some more questions go in. And let's do our last round of wrist shots for the day. Let's start off with Vince L. With the Rolex Daytona 116503 with his son. And Vince, I don't think this is your watch. I think this is his watch. And he's asking you right now, why are you wearing his watch? Awesome shot. Love that, man. Let's go to Stephen D. with the Breitling Night Timer he picked up as a Christmas gift. Congrats. You're having a nice evening right there. And I love that in that copper salmon dial. Beautiful watch. Let's go over to Watch Sal, who has one of the best shots of the day. He is wearing his Moser Pioneer at the Portugal versus Switzerland game. That was a great game. That was a good World Cup, man. Not a big, you know, football fan, but this year I definitely watched a lot of matches. Let's go to Zach L. with his Smith's watch in Antarctica. And I don't know, Sean, is this our first watch from Antarctica? Maybe on the CQ show, first Antarctica watch. I think officially we probably hit all 7 continents on the show. I think we should have a soundboard, you know. But thank you for sending that through, Zach. And let's wrap up with James F. With his Omega Railmaster on a street bike in Bangkok. I hope you drive safe. I just love this shot because I feel like this is like you took this, you're on some type of secret agent mission in Bangkok, and just like, let me just send Tim a wrist shot. I think this is pretty cool. All right, guys, what are the questions you got before we wrap up today? Tim looks cultured today. Yes, he is actually a very cultured guy, and he's actually cultured today for sure. I don't know if he could do as good as what Barrett as me. All right. Do you think we will see more corporate restructurings from the big groups like Kering, UN, GP? Another good question from Whole Milk. Who knows? You know, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that, you know, we'll never know until things happen, like when the Kering group kind of, you know, spun out with UN and GP. I think it's great for big brands to, you know, spin out. How do I say? I think it's great for big groups to spin out brands that they're not fully behind 1,000%. Like with the UN and GP situation, it went the great way, right? Management was able to take over. There are 2 brands with so much amazing potential that, you know, the sky is really the limit, and they're both brands that have been proven to be financial success in the past. I don't know what their finances are now, but I think they're both doing decently. Who knows, man? I think there's a lot of things you know, gonna go on. I think Breitling, they're doing a little bit of moving, so who knows? But I just like to see that there's an appetite for people, you know, in the finance world who are interested in help supporting some of these businesses. And there's so many brands that we don't even know about, right? That are, you know, this year, last year, they were in the planning stages and they'll be launched, you know, different independents at different price points who are will find financing all of a sudden because of the success of, Jorn, Dibitune, Moser, Vitalina, all these guys who've seen so much great success will have people who are willing to take a risk and support some people. I mean, look at HYT. They went out less than 6 months, I think, and then somebody were able to step back in, re-envision the direction of the brand, and now HYT, I think, is on the best path it's been for a long, long time. So I hope there's more, more shaking going on. From Ducky, do you personally prefer products from Patek or Lange, and why? Me personally, it's a very tough question because I started my career in a Patek AD in the Caribbean. So to me, Patek is the first watch. It showed me, what high-end luxury watchmaking was about, what stewardship of a brand is about, what good watchmaking mixed with good marketing, mixed with good ownership can produce. So Patek is a brand that I fell in love with, and really, opened my doors to this whole watch journey. So I'll always have a special place in my heart for Patek. Lange I love as well. Manjos definitely opened my eyes, and we have Longopedia as well. So when you meet people like that and you're able to see so many amazing pieces as well, like I think a Zeitwerk Day is probably one of the best watches out there, ever. Right? So I do like those watches, but I'm somebody, I like everything, so it's hard for me. But Patek will always have a very special place in my heart, and always have a couple in the collection in the future, that's for sure. Shout out to Matt Forrester. Let's see if you have any more questions. Let's do a couple more before we sign out. Will Panerai release a watch with a Rolex movement in 2023? I don't think that's likely, but that would be interesting. Does anyone know if AP offering discounts from list price yet? I haven't heard that. I wouldn't be surprised on certain models. I think the one interesting thing that we're seeing is that a lot of prices are coming back to retail for a lot of different brands. I think like a brand like AP, they just offer such a big variety of things that there's gonna be a few outliers, right? Maybe like the new Royal Oak music watch. If that was an extended production watch, I think that would be something that for sure 10 years ago would be a well under retail watch. I think that would have been something I've been at retail. Again, the demand is still very, very strong. But I think certain models, because they do make quite a lot, I think certain models you'll see come down to reality, which is not a bad thing, because we do need, you got to exercise the muscle, if that makes sense. People need to be able to get watches at retail. Discounting is so I'm of the belief, and I come from the Caribbean sales market where discounting is kind of our thing. But to me, I don't need a discount if you provide me the value. So if I go to a brand like AP that's going to give me good value, good service, some extras in there, I don't need a discount, right? Once we're not playing a lot of games and stuff like that. So I'm more about the value versus discount. And what I'm seeing from a lot of brands is they're enhancing the values, experience, and I hear great things, from Richmond, IWC, and Panerai, and a lot of events that they're doing with clients privately. I know in the Middle East, so many great things I've heard over there, private events that different brands are doing. So again, focus on the experience, and then maybe I don't need so much of a discount, or I won't bang your head as much if that makes sense. All right, let's do two more. O'Neill, who is the next big independent to look out for? That's tough. I like all independents, to be honest with you. I think it's just a matter of time for when they catch on fire. I think Urwerk has a lot of legs right now. I think a lot of people appreciate it. So the one problem independents had for a long time is that their pre-owned value, right? If you spend $50K on a independent brand, you lose half your value, and you don't do that too many times because it's not a good feeling to lose that much money, right? I don't care how wealthy you are. Now we're in a place where you could take a risk on an independent. Let's say Dibitune is a great example. This is a watch where 4 or 5 years ago, a lot of pre-owned dealers didn't even deal with them. You bought a watch retail, you would take a big hit on the resale side. Now, most of them you buy pre-owned or Atlas Overlist. If you get one brand new, you're not gonna lose. If you lose, it's very, very little. And that's because more people are willing to jump in on the models because they know there's some type of back in there. They don't know if they're gonna make money on it, but you're not gonna lose your pants. So now we're seeing a lot of extension to other brands. Urwerk, I think, has a great a great feature. Parmigiani is one that I think right now, this is the year of Parmigiani. I think they're the PF line, the GT lines, they're amazing watches. They look good. I think Parmigiani always had the potential. They just needed to refine down their model lineup a little bit, get the pricing in order. To me, that's a brand that's primed for explosion, and they're just, one or two, marketing ways away, from doing really, really well. Beyond that, I really like looking out for very small makers. There's one I'm going to mess up his name on Instagram. It's Hodinky Burkis. Andrzej Burkis is a watchmaker's name. He's in the Czech Republic. He's on a farm making 10 watches a year or something like that. Really, really nice guy. And there's so many of those makers. So I think, if they're making less than 2,000 watches a year, I don't mind jumping into them, especially if they give me value and I'm willing to hold on for a few years before trading. When you go up to the higher end line, I think you see a lot more support in independent watches. So don't be afraid to jump into an independent on a higher side of the price point, because I do think if you hold on for a little bit more, you'll be able to get out of that watch. Maybe you make some money, maybe you lose some money, but you won't lose, you won't lose the whole bag. And I think that's very important. Great question. All right, last one. Who we got? Independents are on fire. I think the next 10 years will be bullish for independent watchmaking. I agree. Like to see improved Zenith revival. I think Zenith is doing an amazing job with their revival series. It's not a revival, but the Lupin III, the final edition with the half dial, I'm chasing that watch. Need to have one. Let's see. All right, not too much questions. I just want to give this a shout out. Kevin Crawford, just like more cowbell, we need more CQ. I love that. You will be getting a lot more of me now that I'm back in the US, but hey, keep asking, and WatchBox will provide. Sean is slowly letting me get back on the camera a little bit more and more. Thank you guys for tuning in so much. Make sure you follow WatchBox Studios on YouTube, WatchBox Reviews on YouTube, on Instagram. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you follow Tim. He's always giving you the great recaps. Follow me, CQ_ the watch guy on Instagram. If you want to come and see me, come visit me in New York. We're on the corner of 57 Madison. Just call, make an appointment, shoot me an email, CQ@thewatchbox. We'd love to show you the new space. It's amazing. We're also open now in Miami. We're in Boca. We're in West Hollywood and LA. So a lot of great things coming, a lot of great events and experiences coming up. And yeah, like we were talking in the chat before, if you would love to, if you have a collection, if you have, something unique you want to share with the people, let us know, shoot us an email. We'd love to do more content with the people this year. We're really kind of focusing on that for the year. Thank you everybody in the chat. Have a great day. CQ the Watch Guy out. Buy what you love.